we are so excited that you're back with us for another episode of Meet My Mississippi Authors and Artists. You are in for a true treat today. We have a fantastic artist friend here with us today. And what is your name?
Gary Walters.
Okay, and where are you from? Tell the people where you're from, where you grew up.
Jackson, Mississippi.
Okay, and where did you grow up?
Well, I grew up in right outside of Jackson, and then I also I ran away from home right out of the 10th grade and finished high school in Deer Park, Texas.
Okay.
Which is right outside of Houston.
Okay. And then after you were in Texas, give us a little history. We kind of want to know a little history of you and how did you start with your artwork and just kind of...
Well, my daddy influenced me in painting, in drawing. He got me started when I was a little bitty boy, watching him. He was an artist, but he didn't really love it. To me, you have to love it first.
Absolutely.
And he was very talented.
Okay.
But he didn't love it enough to do it a whole lot. But
he might have loved it, but he was so into working and trying to make a living.
Right.
You know?
And he was an alcoholic. And
yeah. See.
Yeah, that's one reason I don't drink, is because I watched what it did to him. And anyway, so but. And then in elementary I had art, and in junior high and high school. But you know, and of course, then I got Dr. Gore. I went to Hines Community College 2 years, and then Dr. Sam Gore came and offered me a full scholarship in art when he saw one of my art shows at the Mississippi College. So
okay.
Then I finished at Mississippi College, but where you learn how to paint is behind the brush. You know, like I tell my students, I teach art too, that the main two art teachers are Dr. Try and Mr. Practice.
Okay.
Like anything else.
It is.
Shooting a basketball, the one shoots it 10 times, the one shoots 10,000, who's going to hit it?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Same way with anything else, yeah.
And they say you miss every shot that you don't take. So if you're not taking the shots, you ain't going to hit it. And you're not going to get better.
Same way with painting and drawing. You got to love it. You got to love the act of painting enough to do it.
And whatever you're doing.
If you don't love it, right. A lot like basketball players, a lot of them play for free, and a lot of them make a lot of money, but they would play for free because they love playing.
And people ask me all the time about the Meet My Mississippi kind of thing. Well, I wake up in the morning talking about how I love Mississippi and trying to get people, because I'm passionate about it. I love it. I mean, it's not like I'm getting paid to do it. I did it before I even had a book. You know, and you have a real good message. You have to love what you're doing.
Exactly.
And I think that children should try to go into a field that they love doing. Because what is that saying that says, if you do something you love, you never work a day in your life?
That's exactly right.
Because it's your passion.
That's right.
And you are just the epitome of that. Besides your lovely wife, that's your passion, is that art. Now this is how I really fell in love with you. Because you, oh my goodness, you put all these wonderful pictures of your wife, and you're a wonderful photographer at that too.
Well, she's a good subject, but but the thing about it is, she got the highest award in the world. Did you hear about her getting that?
No, what is it?
She's a beautiful arrow pointing to Jesus.
Okay,
and you can't get no higher award than
She
that.
is beautiful, but that's how I really, really fell in love with you, because you were every day, as much as I put things on Facebook about Mississippi and facts about Mississippi, you would put things about your life and your marriage, and not just on anniversaries, but every day almost you'd put something up there about Jean, you know, just I just love it. Joan, I mean.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Well, that's right. But yeah, you know, painting is a passion, and of course I've always loved beautiful women. But when I met my wife, I said, now there's a woman I got to marry. So the Lord had pity on me, and he had something to do with it.
She is gorgeous.
Yeah, she's a sweet lady.
Yeah.
Sweet lady.
So let me go back. I always try to find out the connection of how the people that I interviewed that we met, because we're all friends and Facebook friends. The first time I saw you and met you was in Cleveland. Is that where the Cross Tie Festival is?
Yeah,
there are artists everywhere. So they're all over the courthouse lawn. But I was just going around looking at the jewelry, looking at the art, and, you know, the book. I was in the Mississippi book thing, and I was doing with the Mississippi authors. And I came down to your row and I just stopped and I was like, oh my goodness, what? It's just like it grabs you. You can see your heart in those pictures, and even more so the Delta. It's something about the Delta. People say it's magical.
All my folks are from Greenwood on my daddy's side, and of course I've had a lot of good students from the Delta, but it's something about the Delta that you can't put your finger on it.
Right.
But it's something about it that
there is.
Everything, like the sunsets and the food.
It's so something different, and they call it the most southern place in the world. But one author friend was saying that, you know, he didn't even start writing until he went to school in the Delta, because it's something was magical about it, and it just brought out. I just want to show a few pictures here, and this is what. These are originals, and I just want to hold these up to let y'all know what made me fall in love with this man's stuff. I'm just like, really? That is amazing. How long does it take you to do something like this?
Well, it takes, like this particular painting here, the drawing and the painting took about 4 hours probably.
Wow.
But with 50 years of painting experience.
Right. And the shading, the way you do the colors, they blend up together or something. I don't know what that's called, but
4 hours and 50 years.
Right, exactly. That is amazing. This is what stopped me in my tracks, that kind of stuff. I'm going to just hold up a few of them because I want people to see the dreaminess and the magicalness of...
Now this is like a Delta rainstorm here.
Okay, the rain is coming down. It's the way you do the colors. How do you what do you start with blending? How do you start blending that?
Well, what you do, if you painted a whole lot, and I've been painting for a long time, and I just use the colors I like.
Okay,
and what
just keep talking, because
it's best to learn the color schemes and the color wheel and all this stuff. But then it's kind of like playing the piano. You do chopsticks and all the basics, but then you forget all that and start playing.
Right.
Same way with painting. You just paint.
And then it just comes. It just does itself. Yeah. Like, look at that. Just the little details of how it's. I can't even describe it. I just want people to see it. That's why I wanted you to come up here. And this is why I wanted to interview you, because this is magical. I mean, this is just, to me, it's just magical.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
What do you think about when you decide what you're going to paint? Do you look at pictures or scene in your mind, or what is it that you...
I do sketches.
Okay.
And sometimes I just start throwing paint on there and the painting happens.
Okay.
Most of my stuff is made up. Some of them are real places.
And what galleries can they find some of your...
Well, the Caron Gallery in
Tupelo.
Tupelo handles my work. The Brown's Fine Art Gallery in Jackson. And then Mississippi Gift Company in Greenwood. And usually have some of my work.
And most of your work is like these Delta scenes of like cotton fields or just a sunset or sunrise, because you get the colors of that time of day.
To me, the subject of any painting is the painting itself. It doesn't matter if it looks like a sunset or what. The painting itself. See, this is my part of my world.
Okay.
If we had a Van Gogh in here and you drew your finger around it, you draw your finger around Van Gogh's world. This is around my world. See?
Okay.
Every artist has their own world. And that's why it can't match a couch, because your couch is made out of different. See, where this world starts, this world begins.
Okay.
This outside world, but this is my world.
So are you like in the painting, like you're in there, like you just get into that scene? Do you know what I'm saying?
No, it's just, see, the painting itself to me is the subject.
Okay.
It don't matter what it is.
See, I'm learning with them. That's why I'm asking these questions. This is magical to me.
The painting itself is the subject.
Okay.
It's not, see,
what does that mean?
That means, well, we're holding the subject right here.
Okay.
Now here is this is a white cow in a snowstorm here.
Okay.
Where's the cow? I'm just picking at you. Okay. But see, this is the subject. Okay. For a painter, you have to, you love to paint so much that you don't really worry about the outside world. You're worrying about this world.
Okay, I see.
The world of painting.
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
Not the natural world.
Okay, I see.
It inspires you, but
okay, I see.
If you don't love to paint, you're not going to paint.
I see what you're saying. Wow, I could just go on and on and on. We're on Facebook all the time, and then I'll say, you put something up there, and I'm like, Gary, I have to use that with one of my poems. That is just, it draws me in. I'm in the painting. I'm in the world. It's just amazing to me. Okay, because we're talking about Mississippi authors and artists, we have to talk about the books. Delta Dreaming. Which one came first?
Okay,
now
this
tell
is
us
my
about.
first book, Delta Dreaming, the Mississippi Delta Paintings.
Okay.
And it was a limited
See,
edition.
y'all, that's what I'm talking about.
A
Look at
limited
that.
edition.
Look at
paint
that. Oh
book.
my goodness.
And
golly.
then,
And there's no way you could go anywhere, anytime, and not know his work. I mean, it's like a fingerprint. Look at all, they're all the same. They're all different, and they're all the same. If you look at it, you're going to know, okay, yeah, I know who did that. From now on, after you see this show, if you see one of these, you're going to know immediately that's Gary. I mean,
well, thank you.
the way you do the horizons, the way, just all of that. Okay, and then this is the book I have. I have a signed copy of that one.
This is Delta Dreaming.
Okay.
And it's got a 90 of my Delta. Quail Ridge Press published this one.
Okay.
And I'll show you the main page right here.
Okay.
This is the one with my wife on it.
Yeah, that's one of the
drawing
pictures
my
of.
wife.
Yes, I love that.
And I give thanks to my Lord Jesus Christ for giving this wonderful journey called life and great privilege of being an artist. That's the main painting of the whole book right there.
Yes, I love
Everything else
that.
is secondary. And see, while
Art comes from the heart. The biggest part of the heart is art.
right, see.
And I do that. I say that about my book. With the
H-E, and then the ART is the biggest part. Yeah.
And I say that my book, Meet My Mississippi, is a work of art.
That's
art.
right, yeah.
It is.
It is.
Okay, so tell us what you want people to, let's look at that. Catfish Pond Colors.
Yeah.
Sunset Wash. Even the name, do you come up with the names of them like that? Or do you come up with the name first? Or
No, I look at the painting and then I say, and some of these are actual places in the Delta, but some of them are just made up
Yes.
places.
Okay, because of the feel of it.
It's painting.
Because this will say near Rome, Mississippi. It's kind of like, yeah. And this is, see, I don't see too many of your pictures that are people. So, Mississippi Delta Gentleman.
Right.
Mount Helena Shapes.
You know about Mount Helena.
Yeah, you've got one that's got the cotton field in front of it. That's
right. And
fantastic.
That's the most romantic house in the world. Because of,
so many people
you know
have.
the saying about it.
What?
Well, you just look up The Bride of Annandale.
Okay.
And the whole story comes up. It's
Lake Washington Sunset. He does so many. Okay, this is with one of my poems I did on Facebook, and I will show y'all that. Delta Sunset Blues. And when I saw it, I was like, oh my goodness, Gary, I have got to do that with my poem, Blues Man, because it just says exactly what the poem says.
It could be any blues singer.
Exactly.
You know, some people think it's
the
B.B.
silhouette,
King,
yeah, but it could be any.
It could be any out of the sunset.
Absolutely.
Right.
Cotton Row Colors, and everybody knows about Cotton Row, so they'll know where that is, Mississippi. It's just like the painting, like you said, it's not necessarily a place, it's just the painting is the place.
Right.
That is, I'm just blown away by it. Okay, now tell us where you teach, how you teach classes.
Well, right now I'm not teaching. The last place I taught was Belhaven University, but and I only did that at night because I painted in the daytime. But in 2014, me and my wife went out west with some of her cousins for a month and saw the national parks, and we had so much fun. I decided that I just going to lay off a while and you know not teach for a while. But to me, I'm mainly a painter and not a I teach, but I'm a painter.
Right.
Painter has to paint.
So my son is a budding artist, so I want you to give advice not just to my son, but just to artists about being passionate about your work, finding your style, finding what you want to do, not necessarily listening to the crowd or the people or the critics, you know, doing that, doing you.
Well, what you do is almost every artist is influenced by another. Because all artists are influenced by God. Because if you don't believe God is a great artist, just look at this work of art right here.
Absolutely. All right.
Who made that work of art?
Yes, everything about us.
That's exactly right.
That's what I say when I look at the birds and the trees and the flowers.
We are walking, talking pieces of God's art.
Absolutely.
Each one of us.
Absolutely.
And a lot of people don't realize they put all these tattoos and make all this. I saw some people with earrings all in their nose and a chain from each other. And see, God already made you. He didn't make you to put all that mess on.
Okay, but you can't. You have to be secure in your style and what you're doing, because there are always going to be people who love it. There are always going to be people who hate it. They might just not like that style.
Right, that's exactly.
So you have to be confident in just doing what you do and presenting your gift to the world.
That's right. You got to do what you want to do, and don't. You know, you can't. Georgia O'Keeffe, if you're familiar with her,
yes,
she said you can't eat everything you want to. You can't go everywhere you want to, but at least you can do your artwork the way you want to.
Absolutely.
And so,
absolutely.
Well, that's one thing Georgia O'Keeffe said.
Absolutely.
But you know, it's just you got to want to do it though, and the very act of doing it should be something you love.
Absolutely.
If it's not, you need to find something else to do.
Absolutely, because my son will just draw for hours and hours and hours at a time.
That's what it takes.
It's just like he's in this whole zone, in this whole little world.
You get into
so I know he loves it.
To that world, that's right. And then when the work you do is a piece of that world that you leave is kind of like a track from that world.
So every day, how often do you paint per day, or do you decide to sit down and paint? Or
I'm what you call a hunger painter. In other words, I may go a month without painting, and it's kind of like your favorite food, and you hadn't had it for a long time. It tastes so much. The same way. Then I may do 60 the next 2 months.
Really?
And then I may go another month or two, and then I may do 50 or more.
Wow.
And you know, in the next couple of months. But that's where I'm. if I went in there every day, like a job, it would be like work, and it's too much.
Exactly.
It's too much fun and love to be work.
It is. It is. Okay, so tell me again, something like the picture or any of these, it would take just 4 hours. Are you saying you could do?
No, this one here probably took 30 minutes.
Are you serious?
It just depends on the painting. See, this one is a demonstration I gave to a group, and I was showing them how to do a real soft sky.
Okay.
And so all I did is one line across here, and then I did that sky in about 6 minutes. I did this part in about 3 minutes and this part in about 8 minutes.
And that's one of your signatures too. This kind of, I don't know what you call it. What do you call that?
You call that perspective to religion. This is like rows in a field, the perspective.
Okay.
They go back. The roof of that is parallel lines seem to vanish at a point on eye level.
Okay,
like a highway or a railroad track.
Okay.
Goes to a point right there.
Okay, I see. I'm learning something, y'all.
Go to that point.
I might start to draw. But I love, in all of your pictures, you have these things with lines.
Well,
rows and then things that kind of converge.
Yeah.
A lot of them have that, and it's just a signature. What I'm saying is, just like this, you have here they go again.
Yeah, this is like a moonlit field at night.
You'll know these when you see
got
them.
Some stars in the sky, and all I did is throw a little white paint up there and made the stars.
Oh my goodness!
But
see,
anyway.
This is what I'm loving, the shading and all of that. So you're saying from 30 minutes to maybe 4 hours for the more.
That. The most ever. Now portraits, I spend a little more than time on.
Right.
That, but
okay. Let me see what else I got here. Okay, like this.
Now this is a quick one too. This whole thing was wet, and you see how soft the trees are. When it's wet. See, if you wet a whole page, you have about 6 to 8 minutes to do this whole painting.
Oh, really?
So I wet the whole thing, and then I put in the colors and let them fade out. You see the softness of it.
Okay.
But see if it's not.
Ooh, look at that, y'all. Look at that.
It's like reeds beside a lake, you know. This one, see, is wet too, but you can see I scraped out these as a technique to scrape that off, and then I made those wire. But it's just symbolic.
Yes.
For a sunset.
And you do it so masterfully. I'm telling you, you stopped me in my tracks when I was. People know how many artists there are out there at Crosstown. I mean, I had gone to every booth, and I just stood there, and I was like, wow. I mean, I'm just blown away. And then I got this wonderful book, and I tell people everybody needs this book. Now tell us where we can get the book. Do you have a website?
Well,
you have pages on Facebook?
Well, the book is almost sold out. I've got about
Dockery Farms, the blues, all that.
I've got, well, the publisher sold out a while back, a good while ago. But I've got about 100 copies left of it.
Okay.
And that's about sold out because it's up in the thousands in published. But anyway, you can get it on Amazon, or you can call me.
Okay.
And get it. I've got a few left. Like I say. And then most all the stores in Mississippi are sold out of it. And where it was all over the world. It did.
So do you have a website that they can go to
Yeah.
look at things and
Oh, yeah.
information about you?
Sure.
Give us your
It's
website.
GaryWaltersFineArt.com.
Okay, very good. And you have a lot of pages on Facebook, and if you love art, every morning when you wake up, you should definitely like his pages, because every morning you wake up, you can look at some of this beautiful
some
art.
of them are photographs
Yeah.
that other people do. You know, some of my pages, like Felt in the Heart, is one of my pages. And people can vote, if you feel something in your heart, you can go post a photograph on there, or a painting, or a poem. You can put your portrait on there, whatever.
And so in my poem, Meet My Mississippi, we have William Faulkner's Sanctuary, Eudora Welty's home state. And you have a picture of Eudora Welty, and this is a Faulkner picture. Now tell us the story about...
It might be better with not in there. Let me take this out.
Tell us a story about you were out somewhere and you were telling somebody that you were coming to New Albany to be on a show, and you met a young man. What was that? What happened? Didn't you say that you gave a picture to?
Oh, yeah. A young man working at a store said he was from Ripley, and he goes to New Albany. I said, well, and he's such a nice young man that he saw some of my pictures, and he saw that Faulkner, and I didn't realize they didn't have any Faulkner prints left, but I said, well, here, since you're from there, I'm gonna let you have one. But anyway, he's such a nice young man.
And we're gonna flash the picture of the Faulkner picture that he has. It's of Roanoke, and then on each tree
the books
trunk.
are going through his head.
Okay, but there's another one where
the trees, the books in the trees.
Yes,
Yeah.
we're gonna flash that up so everybody can see it, and it's beautiful. The trees, and then names of his books are written on the trunks of the trees. Okay, now tell us about what would Elvis think. Now this is one of your paintings.
Yeah, this is a painting
Yes.
of wraparound cover. This writing club has asked me to do. This is the second book they've asked me to illustrate, and there's another one
Mississippi Stories.
Mississippi Story, and it's got some things about Elvis in it too. But they asked me, he picked out that painting right there. That's the original, to go on the cover. Now I do small ones, as you see, big ones. I love it all the time. But we had a book signing, all the authors in it, and me to sign the cover a couple of weeks ago at Lemuria. And
in Jackson.
15 minutes it sold out.
Really?
So it did real well.
I mean, how could you go wrong when you have something that's about Elvis and this beautiful painting on the cover?
Well,
how could you go wrong with that?
but people.
What would Elvis think? I can't wait to read this. This was something that. When was this published? Because I didn't really even know about this till recently.
2 weeks ago.
That's what I thought. I'm like, when did this come out? This is just a dream come true to me, because you know how much I love Elvis.
Yeah. You can get it on Amazon, and it's $16 on Amazon.
Okay, very
and
good.
It's got about 20 writers, and one of the stories is called Elvis and Linda Lou.
Okay.
And it's these short stories, but they're all good writers. They belong to a writing club in Clinton.
Okay. Okay.
And the Clinton Ink Slingers, they call themselves.
Okay.
And this is their second or third book.
It is, because
the other one is down there somewhere.
Okay.
It's got one of my paintings on the cover too. Yeah,
okay.
that
Virtues from the
Virtues of the Heart.
Okay.
See, this has got a wraparound cover of one of my paintings too.
Okay. Wonderful. Okay.
But anyway, it's sold out though.
Okay, and it's got poems in it. This might be one of the books that they put my poem in. They asked to put my poem in. We have to check that out. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So, oh my goodness, you're such a talented art.
Well, the
artist.
Lord's been good to me. He knew I didn't have sense enough to take care of myself, so He took over.
So now
Give
you said you teach sometimes, and what is the main thing that you teach in your art?
Well, in art, of course, like I told you a while ago, I taught you something, that you are a walking, talking piece of God's art. Well, see, in art, you teach the basics first. It's kind of like crawling before you walk. If you don't know the basics, it's kind of like building a house on a firm foundation.
And then you can just go from there and do your thing after you know the
But
basics.
if you don't love it enough to practice and to do the work, then you know, and you're not going to you might as well find something else to do.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful.
The main thing of a teacher is to inspire the students. In fact, there's a writer that just put out a book, and I'm in the book, called The Cave Spring. And you might have seen that on Facebook. But I inspired her to be a writer. She came to take art lessons, but I found out that her talent was in writing.
Oh, wow, that's
because
wonderful.
just the emails she sent me, I said, those are not normal emails. She would describe a scene that she'd saw, like a fox was following her down the path one day, and she described it. I said, you're a writer.
Wow.
And so then she started writing, and now she's written 2 books.
Wow.
And she's, and she even wrote it on her blog. She wrote how I inspired her to write. And she
That is
put me in
beautiful.
one
And that's what we're here for. And that's what this show is about.
Right.
For people out there to kind of find out what their calling is in writing, or the journey of a writer and an artist, and all that.
Just like your great poetry, that
And I love having so many of your pictures. We do it all the time that I put one of my poems on one of your pictures.
Well, and people comment on the poetry and the painting.
Absolutely. I love, love, love that. And I'm just in love with all of your work. So tell me,
Well, I'm in love with yours too.
Before we wind up, just tell us, when did you decide that this is what you wanted to do after you fell in love with? When did you say, okay, Garrett?
When I was a boy, I knew that I wanted to. I was very young. I've always drawn and painted since I can't even remember when. But of course, all kids do. They start marking with crayons. Some of them just don't even know what a crayon is, and then they see what a line coming.
Right.
A line came out of that stick on the wall.
Right.
Before they even can talk.
Right.
Because God is so gifted and creative that He created us and the world and the universe. And if we get one little spark from His creation, we're going to be creative. And so me and you both got a spark.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And so that's what it takes.
And that's what came out of it, all of this beauty, of God's creation.
I give God the credit because He, and of course I don't just say God. God could be a tree to some people, but Jesus, if you say Jesus,
right.
So a lot of people will run from you.
That's true, but it is what it is.
The devil's after me. That means he hadn't got me yet.
Okay. Well, I want you all to look up Gary and Facebook. Get on Facebook if you're on social media. Like his pages, because I'm telling you, every day it's just going to inspire you to just love life and love living, because it's just like that kind of beauty. Sometimes I just sit there and look at the picture for like, wow.
Well, sometimes I read your portrait and say, look at here.
I'm just in awe. Here is another one of our great Mississippi talents, y'all. And we have many, many more. And I just thank you so much for driving all the way from Jackson to come to New Albany to be with us. Thank you so much, my friend.
You better believe it.
Thank you for tuning in for another episode of Meet My Mississippi Authors and Artists. And please come back to the Hill Country Network. We have much, much more to come.
It's inside me, girl, it's in the air. It's who I am through and through. It won't take long till it gets to you. It's everywhere. Mississippi magic is sweet molasses breeze. God, country, family, that's what it means.